Hey there, my name is Michael, and I work within the editor group here at GitLab. And today, what we're going to talk about is the Leftnav, and more specifically, how we handle the Leftnav in different scenarios. So, this issue was brought up by Maria a few months ago, and the idea is that we shouldn't have like these list pages um, in the navigation because it overcrowds the navigation and doesn't offer additional value. Also, it causes some kinds of issues where there's multiple ways to click to an issue area within the menu. So this is the link that we're talking about here. Click on issues will take you to the list, or clicking on the list will take you to the list. So what I did was I started prototyping what this might look like. So here, remove the list page, and clicking on issues takes you to issues. So if we go ahead and kick off that prototype, let Figma do its thing. Cool. So with project overview, traditionally the first link there is details. Here it will be project overview. So if I just click through some of these things, repository, like files is the first item normally. Here is just repositories, issues, merge requests. I just added a few more links in here to like pad it out just to see how that would look. Requirements is an interesting one. At the moment, it has a submenu called list, and one of the proposals in the issues is potentially to remove that sub item and just have requirements as is. And it's not bad. CI/CD. At the moment, there's no like list page for CI/CD. So what we can do is default to the first page here, and then over time we can look at introducing a dashboard view or some other view to get a nice landing experience to these different areas. And as we click through here, security and compliance, similar scenario. Operations is one that doesn't have a listing page, but we can have a landing page in the future. And so this is kind of like thinking about how we might roll forward with this proposal. But if we look at operations and we open it up, operations is quite unique because it's quite a long sub menu at the bottom of the page, and thus pushes a lot of the content down. And that if you see, like every time I click on something, like the menu kind of changes, so the positions of stuff changes. So from a usability standpoint, things keep on moving for you. I didn't really notice this until I started looking into this issue a little bit deeper. So I did some exploration on this. So if we look at this page now, we have the security and compliance, which is a long list. That's fine. Operations is what we just talked about, and said that, hey, this pushes the content down and changes the position of where I'm used to clicking, because every time it opens and closes, it changes potentially where your hit area hotspot would be to hit issues or repositories and things like that. So I thought of laying out the menu in a different way, where we would click on the different areas as you have right now, but for each section it would open up in its own like side menu. The beauty of this execution at the moment is that it takes up the same amount of space as the current expanded menu. So from a layout standpoint, things could stay the same, and from a menu standpoint, we can simplify some of the interactions. There's some awkwardness with this top area here, whether we leave it or not, whether clicking on it takes you to project overview is something that I'm still working out. So if we remove it, we have a nice kind of clean left menu with a home icon as the first thing, and all of the different areas within a project could be accessed here, and you have clear menus over here. The best thing about this is once you're in a space, you're not distracted by other menus such as CI/CD or security and compliance. When you're ready to jump into those areas, you can. So that's good. So if we compare and contrast some existing pages and how that looks, is on the left hand side here is our current experience. Let me see if I can minimize myself. Cool. So this is our current experience where we have CI/CD and all these other things potentially distracting you. This is probably something to be solution validated, but the idea here is that if we just keep it focused on CI/CD, then you have the same menu, and even allows you to add a lot more, many more menu items here if you really needed to. But it keeps you focused on the CI/CD area, and all the other areas are tucked away. One of the things that we don't want to give up is the ability that we're a web-based application. So at the moment, if you hover over another area, a pop-out menu appears. I still want to keep that because you can right-click and open in a new tab, which I think is a powerful advantage of a web-based application. So I think we should keep that, and this is how that could be executed. So nothing's lost there. So if I show you a walkthrough of this in a prototype, we can see how this pans out. So here we have our project overview. In this execution, I've combined the idea of home and project overview into one because the idea of having the project overview here helps identify where you're at, because with this current execution, you don't really have a strong presence of the project name, but we'll go into that in a bit more detail in a little bit. So clicking on the different areas, we have merge requests, requirements, CI/CD, and as you can see, the way the pages are laid out, it's consistent. On mobile, the similar execution would be there with the items on the left hand side, and the panel here, this 220 pixels would work in mobile as well. Where it gets interesting here is pages that don't have a submenu, like wiki. So wiki could be something like this, or snippets. We could consider putting like a title so that you know where you're at. So I believe security does this, like a security dashboard, like putting a title at the top for snippets, and wiki, and then settings. We get into this kind of layout as well. So especially from settings, the sub menu is no longer way at the bottom, but it's high at the top, so people can find what they need to. The theory or hypothesis is that people can find what they need easily here. But yeah, the links for the prototype and comments to this, it will be placed in the comments below. A little bit of future thinking is addressing the project name. So like, as I said, we have the small little avatar at the top here, which is kind of both project overview and kind of a signposting of which project you're in. One idea to make the project name more prominent is to put the project name at the top along with the breadcrumbs. So traditional breadcrumbs with a project name at the top. And some of you might be curious and wondering, like, what's this Dropdown doing here? And the idea of this Dropdown would pull up a list of recently visited projects. This would allow users to switch context, project context with while they're on issues, so that will maintain their position. This is something that will be solution validated again, because we did a past exploration of this. The execution of the layout was still in its infancy, so we needed to refine that. So this might be a way forward for that. And in the world of groups, how that would work is the group name would be there. Clicking on that would show you recently visited groups. So these are some ideas at the moment, and yeah, I would love to hear your feedback on that. Thank you. Bye.